So next session will be on the uh, with the Tejus, Venkatesh and Murthy. He's Associate Director Developer Relation at GupShup. He's going to talk us about the how to enable personalization experience using conversational AI. Hey Tejus, welcome to the stage.
Hey
We are
Shreya, thank
really
you.
yeah, we are really excited about understanding how developer relation works with the AI. Stage is all
Sure,
yours.
sure. Probably this is the most non-core subject of the day, but I am sure I can give a bit of view into how do you build real personalized conversations with your customers. But before I begin, I just want to do a quick mic check. If you're all hearing me okay, I hope you're also being able to see my screen okay. And please, as we go through the next 20 odd minutes, if you have any questions, write it down, put it onto the QA. I would love to take some questions and answer that during the end of the session. So I am Tejus Venkatesh. I've been doing a lot of automation all my career, but an interesting technology space that is evolving is conversational AI. I'm sure you have some bit of understanding, some bit of conception, some bit of perception about what is conversational AI. To demystify, to ensure that we are on the same page, I will start by beginning to talk about what is not conversational AI is. So I have a quick example. I'm sure most of you know this example already. This is a conversation on Twitter where somebody said, "Thank you for sending my baggage to Hyderabad and flying me to Kolkata," which is two different cities in India, at the same time. So the baggage went to another airport, whereas the person ended up going to their destination. And the person also says, "It's brilliant service." So what happens next? The airline replied back saying, "Glad to hear that." What's missing here, right? Like, we have seen these kinds of automated messages, automated conversations, chatbots on various channels like Twitter or on a website that you go, right? What was the basic problem with these chatbots? Are that they were scripted, right? It cannot it cannot actually predict what you're going to say. Rather, it has predefined set of questions that it can answer, and it tries to match the most reasonable answer that it thinks, which in itself is not very smart, right? Like, I'm sure you would have come across these kind of bots across multiple industries. It could be your banking, it could be your retail, e-commerce, or any website that you visit, right? Like, the thing is, bots are not able to understand the sarcasm in this example. So why? That's because it's the old generation of chatbots. So conversational AI is definitely not this. That is what I wanted to tell you. But something looks like this, right? It is not superhuman. It is not ultra intelligent, or it is not your Jarvis or the Star Wars characters, but it does definitely is much better than the scripted bots. It has the ability to understand intents. It has the ability to understand your natural languages. It has the ability to learn continuously while being on the job. It has the ability to understand the language and emotion. It need not be written and coded in one single language, like the language that we speak, English. It could be combination of other regional languages also. So it is beyond the normal ifs and else. It has the ability to analyze your emotions and intents, map that to existing FAQs, and when it does not understand a question, it has the ability to flag it out and say, "You know what, I don't understand this. Let me mark this down. Let me bring a human whenever that is possible, right? So conversational AI is typically all of this, but not the one that you see on the left screen. But let's also understand, like in this day and age of API, when we are talking about open AI, when we are talking about APIs and infrastructure, why do we need to speak about conversational AI now? Why should we speak, and why should we speak about it now? So, quick question. I would want to see if you can answer all in comments. There are two images on your screen, one onto the left, which is image one, and one onto the right, image two. If you can just drop what is the message that you would want to see. Do you want to see image one, or do you want to see image two? I'm not sure, Shreya, if you can give me a sense of if people are able to reply. If they can message, I'll wait for a minute. If not, I'll continue. I hope you're all replying, but I'll go ahead. Most of us, I'm sure you are looking at image number two as a one that you will like to see more, because it's more personalized. It says "Hi Bobby" instead of saying "Dear consumer," right? Like it is so generic. Generic old school does not help, as it's been there for a while. You want it to be personalized. You want more details, even if you have not, if you are not getting the right answer. Like, can you be redirected to a place where there is answer available, right? Gone are the days when conversation from technology companies, vendors, technology vendors, or brands was single directional, where it was only used for notifying, right? Here's a quick and very interesting stat on why should we bother about conversational AI in general. With a survey across the globe, 64% of consumers or customers of any brand would want their conversations to be interactive. They wouldn't want a single notification, or a single way, uniway communication with their brands. They want it to be interactive, right? Like it is bi-directional communication. I could speak to the brand could speak to me, speak back to me. When I ask a question to a bank, I would want the bank to be responsive. 57% of people said that they want their brands to be responsive. And most amazingly, and I'm sure most of you would have rated the second image in the previous slide, that 91% of us, the consumers, would want messages to be personalized. Whenever you interact with a bank, with a retail, or a commerce website, you want the messages to be personalized, and that's why conversational AI is important. You can do all these only on conversational AI. But what would be the tech stack? What would be the medium? What would be the channel in which we can achieve this level of responsiveness, interactivity, bi-directional communication, and creating personalized messages? Any thoughts? It could be on websites. I think majority of us would have built a website which we think can be interactive, it can be responsive, and it can also be personalized based on cookies and preferences, etc. However, what we need to understand is that websites are so old, right? Websites have been there for a while, and it has its own fair share of limitations, such as websites have been typically built for large screen, like your desktops, like your laptops. But do you get the optimal feeling when you open any website on your mobile phone, right? May not be. And most of the time it is not, right? It is smaller screen. Even if you are on an iPad, you don't get to access all the features the same way you would access on the desktop, because of the legacy of technology, the debt in technology, if you say. Because websites were built for those larger screen. While there are few new age frameworks that are coming and trying to give a seamless experience, the experience on mobile is still broken. So what can we do? How do you as a bank, how do you as a developer who is building an app for a brand, um, ensure that you build a responsive, interactive, and personalized communication? You could do a mobile app, correct? I think that's the obvious progression, and to some extent it works. But the answer is yes and no if you should build a mobile app or not, because of one simple reason. If you open up your mobile today, your iPhones and Android phones, I'm sure there will be 20, 30 apps. But if I ask you to download and install one more app just because you want to talk to Nike, I don't think you will have the same level of motivation. And then there is a threshold of how many apps that you can actually build, and how many apps can you actually push it to your customers on their mobiles. So mobile apps were great maybe 5 years ago. Desktops and websites were great maybe 10, 15 years ago. But no more, because there is that threshold. There is that that hurdle of actually activating your consumers on the phone. It is limited to only few brands, only to few companies which probably got into this earlier in the days. Now I'm sure that if you were to build 5 different apps, you're asking your customers to get on to 5 different applications installed on the machine, on their mobile. It's going to be difficult. So what's the answer, right? Like we are saying websites are not going to be answer, mobile apps aren't going to help as much. Then what is well suited to deliver that seamless customer experience, for all the great technologies that you are building, for all the great APIs that you are creating? There needs to be a channel where you can channelize that and reach out to your customers and build that wow experience to customers. The answer is very simple, right? It's already there. The channel is already there on their mobiles, which is messaging apps. So messaging apps are actually best positioned to deliver all of these interactability, responsive, and real time feedback with your customers. Because it exists, you need not explicitly ask your consumers to build it, or install it, or go to a particular place or a website to get their services. It's already there. You can reach out to them on these apps. To give you a stat, like there are 175 million people across this globe who message a business account on WhatsApp every day, right? Like at least 175 million people. And I'm sure you would have started to receive these notifications, these communications, and you were able to chat with your bank on WhatsApp, at least in some of the countries across the globe, right? If not everywhere. 90% of all of us in this room will also be having Instagram, and if you actually realize, you would be following at least one brand on Instagram. It could be a bank, it could be Nike, it could be some other shoes brand, it could be a fashion brand, but all of us are on social media apps or on messaging apps, and are following businesses there, and businesses can easily reach out to us right there. And 85% of the survey respondents said that if they interact with the brands online on these apps, it helps them build that relationship, build that trust, which is extremely important. And it is especially true in these markets, like mobile first markets. These markets have an advantage of having having got onto the mobile world. The bus of internet or website might not have reached these countries in the earlier days, but thanks to pandemic and move towards digitalization, a lot of these countries, from India, Southeast Asia to Middle East and African countries, and especially LATAM, there is a huge surge towards using mobile and mobile first mindset. They would first look into their mobile, they first look for an app, they first look to chat instead of going to a physical store, going to an internet, going to internet via a website on their laptop. It's first the mobile. They have access to mobile and internet in their palm and need not go to the larger app, like larger machines like laptop or desktops. So that hopefully answers the question of why it is relevant. Why it is relevant to understand about conversational AI, and why every single brand, including the bank, which is going through a huge transformation in itself, need to involve conversational AI as the strategy to reach out to your customers. I hope that sets a good context for all of you. Now let's see how do we make it happen. I'm sure this room is full of technology and technologists who would have worked on various technologies that I'm going to talk about. But a quick snap: if you were to actually look at the details, how you can enable it on mobile, you will need one, as I told you, the intention, understanding the intent and classify that intent. Second is that you have to identify your own entity and recognize those entities and maps this intent to intent across those entities. Then also, the continuous conversation that needs to happen, and the responses also should be generated naturally. So that's the layer of machine learning that you would need to know. You can easily start off by building a knowledge base or repository and then start tagging them, but also involve machine learning and deep learnings for continuous updation of those process, and highlight and tag those questions that the bot is unable to answer immediately. But most of it, all of this should be at a central federated repository, and that can be easily deployed across multiple channels, because WhatsApp is awesome in some parts of the world, like in India, like in some of the Middle Eastern countries, and in Latam, but that may not be the case in some other country, like maybe a WeChat or a Viber could be the preferred one. So whatever we are building on the screen should be easily deployable across different channels as well. And some of the things that you should also distinguish is the customer experience platform and the notification, the old notification that you used to build, is that all of this should be configurable, it should be available real time, and it should be scalable, because the number of brands, the number of customers are going to obviously increase not gradually but extremely fast, exponentially. So your infrastructure must be scalable whenever you are building this. Security and modularity should also be embedded, so all the APIs that you are exposing should be well checked with these regulations as well. While we are here, the theme being BFSI, specifically banking, you can look at some of the functionalities or use cases like bill payment, customer know your customers, authentication, all these things which are currently done by going to a branch or by uploading some documents on net banking or sending them on emails, can all be automated right on their palm. Like you can send them a message for KYC, ask them the couple of documents that they need to submit, capture it one by one, just like a conversation, because all of us humans have evolved from communicating via conversations. We were supposed to sit in front of a computer and submit our documents. So it works really better in BFSI, and there's a huge trend of adoption that's happening here. But it also cuts across other channels like retail, commerce, e-commerce, any consumer brand that you are interacting with, entertainment and media. If you are from this part of the world where you use Book My Show, the moment you book a ticket for cinema, you immediately get a message on WhatsApp with QR code. And when you go to the cinema hall, all that you have to do is show that QR code. That's it, right? Like, and you can get updates, you can make modifications, you can make changes in your plan, etc. It's the same with hospitality and travel. Whenever I book my airline tickets, I immediately get the notifications on WhatsApp. I can quickly check based on my PNR. I can make the changes. I can see the itinerary. I can see the connecting flights. All those details are up right on my messaging app, which could be a WhatsApp or which could be a typical message as well. The importance of having those two-way conversation is a value add in any industry, like not just banking. So I'll hold for a moment and do a quick time check if I'm doing okay on time check. I think I have another couple of minutes. If there are any questions, Shreya, please let me know. I'll be happy to answer a couple of questions. If not, I have just a few more points to share. So I'll take a moment of pause here and see if we can take a question, or I'll continue with the presentation.
Okay, yeah, sure, Tejus. So if you want to continue, you can continue. We can take the question at the end as well.
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
have 4 more minutes, right? Or more.
Yeah, you have a 3 minutes.
Okay, okay. Cool. I was just trying to be, lucky and
Yeah.
get a few more minutes, but that's okay. Cool. All right. Since we are here talking about banks, let's talk about a case study which is about Kotak Bank, which used conversation extremely successful. It's actually one of the world's first few which used WhatsApp to enable banking, right? So if any one of you are their customers, you might have already started noticing these messages. To be very honest, how many of us are actually looking at messages, right? Like, it's hardly, there are 500, 700 unread messages, which is a potential risk for a bank if their notifications goes unnoticed. So on WhatsApp, the success rate, the number of people who have opened it, has increased 10x. So 10 times better than sending just notifications on SMS to WhatsApp. Because yes, it is going to be personalized. It is going to be real time, and it is not one way, right? Because you can interact. You can ask a question back. You can really engage with the customer, real time, helping them without them going to different places. Imagine you get a message saying, "Hi, XXX amount has been debited. Would you recognize this?" And if they don't, they can immediately right swipe and say, "This was not my transaction," and then immediately you can trigger another workflow thanks to the open architecture within the systems. You can have those third-party applications also integrated to check these, right? And yeah, if on certain use cases like onboarding the users, the time that is taken to onboard a user has significantly reduced. So you have improvised your time to service your customer, which is also important. So that's one of such examples. The other example is a Khan Academy example, where unlike typical courses and teachers and tuitions, Khan Academy is digital first. So you can go on their site, get their WhatsApp number. It's live. You can actually check it yourself, where you can message them on WhatsApp, and then there is an immediate response, and that increases the engagement. They have 55 million users that they can go approach globally. That is the kind of scale that we are talking about. So it's almost one-on-one kind of a personal experience, but on such a large scale, but it has also increased the engagement with the students, so they can keep track. And there, it started off with an FAQ model, which which helps the students answer some of the questions. But it also has that NLP engine, which is on the job learning, trying to add more and more questions and answers, and it is getting better and better. And it can provide solutions in multiple languages. It can understand the intent on different languages as well. So I think that's almost my time. I don't want to pick it any further. Thank you so much. That's my social media handles. If you have any questions, would love to take them offline. Thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, Tejas, thank you very much. It was really nice talk. Please feel free to share any question if you have for Tejas on his LinkedIn or Twitter. Thank you.